Logic Pro on iPad against BandLab. What is the better option to record your music? The first point that BandLab has over Logic on iPad, you can use it on the phone. You can't use Logic Pro on the phone. You can only use GarageBand. And another thing that you can do with BandLab that you can't really do with Logic is use it Android tablets, and you can also use it on your web browser in Chrome. You cannot use Logic Pro on your phone. You cannot use it on an Android tablet, and you cannot use it as a web browser. And if you want to use it on your computer, you have to buy Logic Pro. And now we're going to talk about price. BandLab is 100% free, while on the other hand, Logic Pro is $50 a year or it's $5 a month. You might be thinking that BandLab is killing Logic Pro X right here, but let's get into it. This is what the auto-tune looks like in Logic Pro on iPad. It's easy to set. You know, you set your root node. It could be like E, whatever it is. You set the key to scale. You got a lot of options here. When it comes to BandLab, BandLab automatically sets the key and the scale to whatever the beat you import, so you don't have to worry about finding that. All you have to do is worry about turning this knob to get the retune or correction amount that you want. And they also threw in 4 different modes extra other than classic, which you can sit there and mess with. But the point goes to Logic Pro because you can actually use other auto-tune plugins that you can purchase on the App Store. We can use Vocal Tune Pro, Audio Tune, Auto Tune Mobile if we wanted to. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas in BandLab, we only have 1 and we cannot use third-party plugins. And that leads me to the next thing. We can actually buy and use third-party plugins. We can't do that in BandLab. You can buy the Mixbox plugins. These plugins are like $80, but you get a bunch of plugins. So like, let's say if we want to do stuff like this, you see it's gonna pop up different plugins like 500 series model plugins. We can use those, record with them, mix with them, master with them. Another point that'll go to Logic Pro over BandLab is the fact that we can use synths in Logic. We could bust off reverbs, delays. We could do automation with all of that with synths, get more control of our mixing. In BandLab, we can't do that. We don't have no synths in BandLab whatsoever. At some point, I hope that they come to BandLab because that'll make the experience in BandLab a lot better. We have it here. Like, we can create buses. So you see how they just gave us this aux down here at the bottom? We can control how much of that signal goes there. And we can do post fader, pre-fader. We can copy fader to send. We can remove it. So many things that we could do here in Logic that we cannot do in BandLab. And another thing that we could do in here, you can hit this right here and it'll bring up our channel strip. So now we can really control how we're going in. We can turn input monitoring on, turn it off. We can freeze the effects if we want to freeze them. We can group. But again, you got to keep in mind, BandLab is free. Logic on iPad would be for people that's like that uses Logic, that's more advanced with recording, with mixing, that wants more control. But these are just a few things that I've noticed, our first impressions of looking at BandLab then looking at Logic Pro on iPad. They are 2 completely different programs. They serve different purposes. BandLab is more of a community. It's free to use for people. You can promote your music, put your music out. You could record your music, mix your music on Logic on iPad, and still use BandLab to upload your music. Like, if you don't know how to master, you can bounce your song out, upload it into BandLab, then upload it because BandLab has free mastering. It's so crazy. I can see you using Logic Pro and BandLab to create something crazy, right? But let me know in the comment section below, which one would you prefer? If you're on the iPad, would you want to use Logic Pro? Or would you want to use BandLab? If you use Logic on iPad, right, you can record on your iPad and send that Logic session to an engineer that has Logic and get it mixed on the computer. Or you can go back and forth. You can go record in the studio in Logic and airdrop the session to your iPad. Then you can take that and you can go mix and do whatever you want to do. It's so crazy what you can do now with Logic on iPad, being on iPad, right? Because a lot of people have iPads, a lot of people be in and out of studios, and it's very universal. Which one do you like more? Which one has more potential? Which one would be more useful in the future? Is it Logic Pro on iPad or is it BandLab?